Hello, my babes, and welcome back to my channel, The Self-Love Template, where we are up-leveling our lives in all of the ways that we know we have needed to for a long time now. We're tackling all of those, and we're eradicating everything that holds us back from true and genuine love of the self and love of life and love of others. So I wanted to share this video. It's footage from a private event that I was invited to speak at for the Manifesting and SP community. So I'm going to share this footage with you of a talk that I gave and then me answering some questions from some of the participants who were at the event. This is something that I've wanted to share for a while now. I've wanted to do a video on my hot take on manifesting an SP. And it just kind of worked out this way where I decided to use this footage instead of recording an actual sit down video. So I'm glad it worked out this way. I also think it's got a lot of use to it, and because there's questions that people were asking afterwards, I also think that it's even more valuable than if I would have just sat down and recorded some of these facets that I cover in the talk that I gave. So I'm going to put the footage now. You can check it out. I think you will really enjoy it. And here you go. Here's my hot take on manifesting an SP.
Back at you, girlfriend.
Thank you. Yeah. So.
And just by chance, Victoria.
Yeah.
You guys met in a group.
Yeah, and we live.
Actually live so close to each other just by chance.
Yeah, it was a total chance, and a chance that we, of all the people in the group, resonated with each other. Because, like, it's no guarantee that just because you live near someone that you're gonna give a shit about them, you know? Like.
That's right. That's it. That is for sure. Yeah. Well, you start wherever you want to start, Victoria, and you know what's what. You know what people are trying to manifest: relationships, self-love, SPs, X's. You know the scoop.
Okay, well, I wrote everything out last night, so I'm just gonna read what I wrote, and then I wrote like a lot of bullet points for some different items that Anya's had prompted us with. So I'll just go here, and then we'll just take it as it comes. So my relationship journey hasn't been easy, clear, or straightforward, but one thing I do know is that the entire thing was teaching me extremely important things about myself and life. I also know that all of my partners were reflecting me back to me. It took a lot to get me to where I currently am, but I wouldn't trade any of it for anything because it's my lived experience and it makes me who I am. No regrets. Would it have been nice to have figured some of this stuff out sooner? Sure, I'll admit it. But life is about trust, and trusting the process is a must. The importance of self-love along the way cannot be overstated. I always say that self-love is the antidote to all of life's poisons. I believe this to be true with every follicle of my being. Why? Because someone noble towards themselves could never dream of being ignoble to anyone else. By nobility, I mean nothing arrogant or pompous. Self-love still has a humbleness to it because it recognizes the other. It nurtures because it stems from a very full cup that runs over and fills the other's cup too. It does this through the strength of love's inherently divine nature. Meister Eckhart, among others, said, God is love. I have always said that it's the glue that holds this whole shit show together. Otherwise, we would have imploded upon ourselves or killed each other off by now. Even MLK Jr. said, love is the greatest force in the universe. It is the heartbeat of the moral cosmos. Self-love liberated me from all of my relationship struggles because instead of constantly and codependently waiting on someone else to give me a permission slip to truly live or feel fully alive, I took on the responsibility of my own happiness. I embraced the freedom that comes along with that, no matter how scary or overwhelming it could feel at times. I stopped thinking that someone else had my happiness or freedom in their back pocket. Moreover, I stopped externalizing my happiness, freedom, my peace, or my well-being. I stopped outsourcing. I spoke to the manager within for a change. And as Neville says in one of my favorite quotes of all time, there is no one to change but yourself. I started meeting my own needs and stopped expecting someone else to meet them for me. I became my own top priority and the most important person in my life. All the things I was willing and wishing that I could do for a man when I was feeling so empty and lacking and desperately needing a partner, I started looking at myself and asking myself, why can't I be willing to do those things just for me? Just for the chance to experience my own values, just for my own sake. What about the other loving, supportive relationships in my life? Didn't they deserve some semblance of this level of dedication too? How could I be more loving to myself, to others? None of this came overnight. It was a 5+ year journey, 10+ depending how you want to look at it, maybe even longer, because the roots, I think, were forming long ago. But I've struggled with everything from addiction, abusive relationships, rejection, and a bunch of other BS that's not even worth mentioning because it doesn't define me anymore. You see, the ultimate revision when you're manifesting an SP is to become someone stronger than circumstances. A victor, not a victim. I lost myself in relationship after relationship, seeking to define myself through anyone else but me. Because I was in the depths of self-loathing. I had zero relationship with myself. This reflected back to me in all of my relationships with men. I had to do a lot of work to like myself, to find myself, to love myself. Who I am now, I could never dream of abandoning myself, leaving myself behind down the road back in the pouring rain like I did over and over again in the past for men who didn't even deserve a fraction of what I was tolerating from them, in desperate hopes that they would just finally choose me already. Bottom line, you can only control your ability to choose yourself. That realization right there will start you in the right direction. It will give you the wherewithal to ask yourself why you even want to be with someone who you aren't a hell yes to. Why, if you're not a hell yes to them, they aren't a hell no to you. Why do you not believe there is someone way better out there for you? Why do you not want better for yourself in general? Start there. And then ask yourself why this situation is even attractive to you in the first place. Why are they attractive to you? If you need to convince them to love you or treat you right, if you have to cajole them or force or manipulate the situation, them, or their ability to love or treat you correctly, why is this what you want for yourself? Is it even what you want? Does it even remotely match? Why can't or won't you just say no to it? There's way more to life. That's step 2, to finding greater self-love. Sinking all of your love into romantic sexual relationships is a surefire way to lose sight of all of the other infinite paths to genuine love in your life. It is highway robbery. So, going over some of the points that Agnes had prompted us, what they give is enough. What they give is enough because you need nothing from anyone. You have to learn how to meet your own needs. You're a grown person who can and should take care of yourself. Doing inner child work and reparenting is so clutch. We are all secretly dating our parents and reenacting wounds through who we pick. Heal your own triggers and you help heal your SP, but do it for you, not because it's going to help them. Start learning to put yourself first and show up for yourself. I am good enough. As Agnes would say, for whom? Who are you good enough for? Flip it around and say, are they good enough for me? Who told you you weren't good enough? Because you weren't born thinking that. Why do you still believe them? So here's some inner child homework that you can do. If a little 3 to 5-year-old or even a 12 or 17-year-old or any other age expressed to you that they aren't good enough, would you want them to believe that? When a baby is born, how do you tell if it's good enough? Tonight, talk to your inner baby, your inner child, and your inner big kid. Recognize their pain. Feel it. Let it pass through you. Be that good parent as yourself now to those kids inside of you. Revise it, all by just being the love now. Be loving to those kids and to the present day you, and all the versions of yourself in between. Treat them as if they love you is the next thing. If it makes you feel good, assume it. Assume that they love you. Sprinkling some love on it never hurts. If they aren't treating you with fundamental love and respect, though, boundaries are more important than assumptions. You feeling good, safe, cared for, important, etc. are way more important than whatever is going on with your SP. And these are all a function of you showing up for yourself, which includes walking away from a person who treats you poorly. They are a function of self-love. Treat you as if you love you. Then love will be reflected back to you. You won't need love because you'll be your own wellspring of love. And it will be easier to walk away from some dusty guy who doesn't even deserve your attention in the first place. Stop fishing for info from them. This puts you in an infinity loop where you are manifesting over and over again that they keep not freely giving info in the first place. It's also just writing a story where they are in control of you and how you feel instead of you being in control of yourself. Put all of your focus back into you. Fish for info from yourself. Why do you feel so insecure that you are fishing for info or anything else in the first place? So the last thing is things I do to keep and maintain my self-love. So Agnes will tell you these things too. Physically, you need to hit your basic needs. You need to just be doing the things that you know you need to be doing for yourself every day. And that can include a slew of different responsibilities. Mentally, I know I need stimulation. I also try to really watch my mental diet. Emotionally, you have to feel your feelings. You have to let them be there and kind of like welcome them. Doesn't mean you have to ruminate there forever, but you can always journal about things and converse about things with people who you love and who you know love and support you back. Spiritually, I read my Bible, I pray, I converse with people about spiritual and philosophical things. And on a soul level, I like to go into nature. I love to write, I love to cook, I love to do anything creative. I love to play with my dog or with friends. I love to do my music. I play a lot of instruments, and I just love to enjoy my life. So you have to plant a value garden. So if you have a value garden, is yours full of weeds or is it nicely terraced and full of birdsong and sun showers? You must know your values before you can grow your value garden. So maybe, I don't know, do some weeding. It takes work to get to know yourself enough to begin to understand your own preferences and values and to exercise them in your life. This builds self-love, self-efficacy, self-trust, self-concept, etc. Like Louise Hay says, start with mirror work and saying, I love and accept myself. I love and approve of myself. I love you, Victoria. I really, really love you. That was a big one for me, and I still do that one pretty often. And it wasn't easy for me. Like, I didn't just start being able to do that. It felt really fucking awkward at first. Look in your own eyes in the mirror. Keep a photo of you as a little kid and as a big kid or an adolescent. Those are the same eyes you were born with, the window to your soul. There's only one you, now or ever. There's zero possibility of another you ever. Love her. Love her. Love her. You're manifesting an SP because this whole time your soul has been crying out for you to love yourself and being alive as much as you think you love this other. Worthiness, love, validation, acceptance, value, etc., they all start from within. They get reflected back to you, and the inner shapes the outer. So that's everything I wrote. Sorry if it was a lot, but I just...
No, it's great. It's great. Layers and layers of what we need to do. And if you do that, it just infuses much better experiences with the love that is needed, rather than trying to suck love out of it and then it all goes pear-shaped. So that's why I wanted you to talk about self-love, Victoria, because I know you've gone deeply into it and you continue to go deeply into it, and it's a great reminder for us all. Has anybody got any questions? Anything you want to ask?
I mean, hers, it was so clear. Whatever question we had, it just...
Yeah, I know.
She answered everything.
She
said
did.
something, I answered, and then I had a question, and then she said something. I was like, yeah, I got my answer.
I have a question.
Sylvie, go ahead.
So, because I'm not in a relationship right now, I'm trying really hard to remember what it was like when I kept being very confronted and mixed up between, and this is when I was really trying to apply the techniques. When you're thinking, there's a sentence that you said that said, it's not they don't owe you anything, but it was a sentence that was really well said, as in, don't look for them for whatever you're missing, you have to find it within. I wish I wrote down the sentence. So if we're not expecting anything from them, how do you find that line between I'm being needy because, again, I'm trying to remember, I'm being needy because that person, I don't know, kept saying, oh, we'll do this next week, we'll do this next week. I'm trying to remember, he would say, oh yeah, well, that's not tonight, but we'll do it together, and then canceling, not following through. So at that point, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of that beautiful text being read. The person who read the...
Victoria.
So if every time that someone behaves in a way that we think is not aligned with our value, two paths. The path of, well, I really don't like being let down like this, or someone that keeps promising and doesn't deliver or doesn't put me as a priority, right?
Right.
So we can say, oh, okay, well, I love myself, and therefore I'm going to let that person go, because I'm going to say, look, you keep doing that, so, I don't like that, so that's fine. Not making the person wrong, but giving yourself what you need. So that means you constantly let the person go.
Yeah.
Or I'm shit at asking questions. I'm just trying to say, I have it in my head, I can't put words. It's, if every time, I'm not talking about someone slapping you around and really obviously treating you poorly, that it's kind of obvious, then I remember I was tolerating what I thought was shit behavior, but I was thinking, oh, it's because it's my self-love, so I persisted where I should have exited.
Right.
And it's because I was doing the self-love, because I wasn't working with Agnes, by the way, at that point. I was working with someone else. And at the end, like a year and a half later, she says, yeah, well, I've watched you tolerate this, and if you loved yourself, you should have exited. But I was thinking, but you never told me, said it's not for me to tell you.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, I just kept thinking, oh, well, I just obviously don't love myself enough, so it'll be reflected back to me, so I'll just put up with the shit behavior until I love myself enough, and then they'll change.
Right.
So,
but you can't do it that way. Like, it has to be genuinely for you. And I can say for me, there's been like a juncture in my self-love journey where I was definitely doing it for what I would experience in the 3D, and then a marked change at a different juncture where I was doing it genuinely for me. And when I started doing it for me instead of for what I would see on the outside, I was liberated. I felt, like none of this SP stuff meant a hill of beans to me anymore. And I did get my SP back. I mean, he didn't, I guess, conform or whatever. But then I had to ask myself, like, is this something that I even want to continue to care about? Like, do I really even want to keep putting stock into a person who just perpetually shows me things that I don't want to experience and that break my boundaries? You know what I mean? Like, boundaries are incredibly important when you're navigating with anyone. It could be friends, family, lovers, people that you do business with. It doesn't matter. Like, if someone's perpetually breaking your boundaries, then you're the one in control. You're the governor of that, right? Because you either put yourself in those situations or you don't. And so, like, for you, like you're saying, you walked away from someone finally, and I totally get that. And I totally had to sit with the inner conflict of knowing that once I knew better. And like Anya says, like, once you know better, you can do better. But even my first go around with my SP and the first breakup that we went through, I knew at that time when I was recovering from the first breakup that I should have walked away. It was clear to me. It was like I just kept trying to convince, cajole, manipulate, force, and that's all codependency work. Like, that's stuff that, you know, I feel like everyone in the Manifest and SP community is codependent, and they need to do codependency recovery, because you just wouldn't want to perpetually tolerate the same bullshit from the same person over and over and over again if you weren't codependent. A fully independent person is just able to enlist better boundaries or enact better boundaries and function around them. So it's taken me so much work, and that's in conjunction with being 10 years sober from drug addiction and alcohol addiction and stuff like that. So it's just getting real with yourself. It's like being honest with yourself about, where do my boundaries suck balls, and I need to figure that out. And I'm so sorry to be like vulgar, but that's the Jersey in me. I'm from Jersey, and we're just very like, we swear a lot and stuff. But it's just, and talking to yourself like the way that you need to, that's why I talk to myself that way. Like, I still talk to myself with a lot of love and da da da, but like, I know what I need to hear. I know the no nonsense like tone that I need to take with myself in order to kind of like slap myself around a little bit, to be like, okay, this is where my boundaries are completely lacking. This is where I'm still externalizing or just choosing to not be happy. Because also, like, happiness is a choice, it's a mood, it's not a destination. Like, it's something that you have to embody in the moment. And like, like your question about neediness and whatever, to kind of like not get too far away from that, because I want to still try to like answer your question. Again, when you're filling your own needs, like, you're not going to require anything from anybody else. And if a person is coming into the equation with you as a fully functional person who's fulfilling their own needs, then like, it's going to be clear to you, like, you're going to eventually meet each other's needs, right? Because that's what you do in a relationship. But you don't do it from this place of desperately not being able to do it for yourself, or desperately needing them to do it for you, because if they don't do something, it's going to like spiral you out and make you crazy and be on the couch for 2 weeks, like crying and throwing up or whatever.
No, I wasn't talking about that. I was just talking about when, again, without an example, but it's the thing where, if you don't ever make the other person wrong, I guess you've answered the question. It's just, if you're not feeling your needs are met, that's it. You just exit.
Yeah, because again, like, I worked with a therapist for a while about, like, I read these two books, One was by John Wellwood, and the other one was by Jet Sarsis, I believe. I forget the titles of them, but like both of them really dealt with the whole idea that you're dancing out your wounds with your partner. And like once you can really understand that and wrap your head around that, like the whole needs thing becomes like more internally focused, to where you're trying to work that out for yourself instead of like going after a person. Because I think when, like Marcy was saying with like chasing and this and that, like you're chasing because there's some old pattern active inside of you, some old like wound that's triggered, and that's what's causing you to go after it. It's either from like your childhood or some kind of bullshit that you experienced in like your early life or something, but it's like it's never been resolved within you, and it's what causes you to keep chasing after them, running after them, thinking that they're going to be the answer, that they have your happiness in their back pocket. Like they don't, you know, like you have that inside of you, and you also have feelings that really need to be felt and deal with. And even Neville talks about how you have to resolve the feeling, or like, and I mean, Anya's probably knows better like the exact verbiage, but he does say that, where like if you don't deactivate it, like it'll just keep happening over and over and over again. It'll just keep playing out in different kinds of ways. And even in like psychology and stuff, you know, the way the subconscious mind works is you can only be aware of something once you're aware of it, meaning like the subconscious may like bubble something up to the surface for you to deal with, and it's your duty and responsibility to either deal with that or not. And if you don't, it's going to keep running your life. Like you'll keep responding or reacting rather, like involuntarily, from that kind of like trigger or wound or whatever. So it's like a lot of multi-layered work, and I don't think it's just as easy as like, oh, I'm gonna manifest this person, or I'm gonna, you know, like be so laissez-faire and just work on me until they conform in the 3D. I think for a lot of us who, like some people are manifesting a person that's, let's say, like worth it, right? Because they're like actually a good person, and they're actually complete themselves, and they're gonna, you know, once everything's right within you, like they're gonna be able to show up and love you correctly. But I think a lot of us in the SP, myself included, I've always tried to manifest SPs who were not worth it. And it doesn't mean that they weren't lovely people on some level, but like they weren't treating me well. And I really had to stop giving a shit about like what was going on in the 3D and start looking at me. And like Agnes always says, if I have this going on out there, then like what do I have going on within me that's like causing this to happen per se. But I also don't think it's as simple as that either, because it's like, yes, you have this thing happening in the 3D, but it's also like the most important thing is your inner terrain, your inner landscape. It's like I need to work out these feelings, and I need to work out these wounds or this pain or whatever it is. Like that stuff is your sacred ground to uncover and excavate what's there, and just not like let it keep perpetuating all of these same patterns. And the only way that you can do that is through self-awareness, self introspection, you know, like just trying to like discover more and more about yourself, which is why the self-love piece is everything. It's not just bubble baths and pedicures, like I always say. It's like that stuff's important too. Yeah, like if stuff like that makes you feel happy and whatever, you know, that's part of taking care of you. There's nothing wrong with that, no shade. But it's also like you have this like lotus flower inside of you, like we talk about in yoga. Like I don't know, I'm a yogi, so like I try to kind of frame things around yoga a lot because they have good examples. It's like in your heart is this secret room with a lotus flower inside of it that you're trying to get to, and like all of your experiences are filtered by your heart. So I guess just look at it like you have this infinite relationship that's possible with you. There's like infinite layers to you. You can live your whole entire life and not even know everything there is to know about yourself, because your consciousness is that vast and that infinite. And I'm just saying, like, you can put some of that focus from the outside inside, and then that's when you see the outside transform. And it's just not even going to matter to you anymore, because you're being love. You're embodying love, and like love is the point of everything, and you just feel that and you live that, and your cup runs over into everybody else, and everybody is just reflecting that all back to you. And it's not to say that you don't have like shitty days. We all do, but like Marcy was saying, you're able to walk yourself through that stuff better. You have the tools in your toolbox to really get yourself through to where you're not outsourcing anything. Like I was saying, you're not externalizing anything. It's just all coming from within. And then all this other cool stuff is going to happen to you on the outside that's in line with your values. And then the relationship becomes this little myopic thing, which it's always been, but we've blew it up under this microscope, you know what I mean? Or this magnifying glass or whatever. And, you know, there's just a lot to life. And I know for me, my mom died when I was really young, and I've kind of, for better or for worse, I've really taken that and run with it. You know, I know that it was partially responsible for my addictive behaviors and stuff like that, because I was just open to like trying everything and whatever, but it also just made me know that you're not promised tomorrow. So you really have to take life by the balls, and you have to live the fuck out of it. And that's what this whole self-love thing has taught me. That's what all of this SP stuff has taught me. And again, like you're saying, your boundaries will be so good that like someone who's incomplete or not in touch with themselves or not self-aware, they're just not even going to seem like attractive to you, and you will be able to walk away a million times more easily and not take it personal. Like with my SP on this last breakup, which he left things kind of hanging, and I don't know, he may come back around, he may not. At this point, I don't care. But my inner child, she definitely cares. Like there's days where that really hurts me and really bothers me, and things that he said during our last conversation really bother me. But I just have to be the parent. I have to reparent myself, and I have to be there for her, and I have to take extra good special care of me, because whatever he's doing is his business, and whatever I'm doing is my business, and that's the only side of the street that I have to keep clean. It's the only side of the street that I have any control over. And again, like I just, like whatever happens with him is irrelevant. Like Glam Pam was saying, with or without you, I'm good. Marcy and I used to have a saying, wowie, with or without you. Like we would just say wowie, wowie, you know, because it is true. Like your life is gonna go on. Life is gonna keep on lifing, and you know you don't want to just like put all your time and effort into manifesting one small part of your life. And anyways, I think that all manifestation is an aggregate like byproduct of your mental diet, meaning like I think that you manifest in aggregate, where you like your life just takes on a different tone when your mental diet and your self-concept, your self-love, your inner world shifts. Then you just experience those shifts on the outside, and you're just enjoying life. And then things are going to just come along, and they're going to happen, good things, bad things, but you're going to be able to cope with the bad things, and you're going to be able to really appreciate the good things on a level that you never even imagined was possible, really. So I don't know. Hopefully that answers some of your question, Lori.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I know, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, ladies. Rachel, go ahead.
I remember you talked, and I think it was in December, in the intermediate, and you talked about, like he was emotionally unavailable, and you were emotionally unavailable. So I just wondered, like, when he came back, was he just a lot more, did he know that he just had to be? because I deal with that. Or I've realized in my journey, like, I'm in no contact with him. I set boundaries down. He's angry at me. But it's something I've noticed is my guy is emotionally unavailable. So that's not something I want to deal with anymore if he does come back.
Okay. So when my guy came back, I'm just gonna call him Anthony because I don't want to call him my guy because at this point I just want nothing to do with him, but whatever. So when Anthony came back, I had done so much work on myself that I was like completely brazen and put everything on the table. I did not hold anything back. I said exactly what I needed, and even in times when he was exhibiting like the same old behavior, I just kept laying down the law, laying down the law. I even remember Marcy got kind of like, she was like, I don't know, like, should you be doing that? Like, I don't know. And I was like, no, because for me, like, this is what's the most important thing. Like, I've been such a nice girl in the past, and I've had such a problem with like being a doormat and overgiving and getting walked all over that it wasn't about me like just being laissez-faire and letting him like quote unquote get away with whatever. And hold on, I have to plug in my phone because it's dying. But so for me I think it was more about like I really had to lay down the law because I hadn't done any of that in the first place, and because I was more emotionally available to myself for the first time in my life, probably, where I was willing to do that and willing to put it out there, and I didn't care like what was going to happen. In other words, like I needed him to know what I needed because he had been so negligent about like what I needed, like, and I know that sounds contradictory to what I was just saying because I'm talking about how like, oh, you don't need to get your needs met from the other person or whatever, but it was just more like he objectified me a lot and he judged me a lot without putting any time into getting to know me very well, or like he would just presume things about me without like asking me directly and stuff like that, and all of that really hurt me. So I think for me, like, it was just about expressing like, hey, if you really want to continue to be in a relationship with me, like, these are the things that I would like you to do for me, right? Because ultimately he's free to do what he's going to do or what he's not going to do. Like, that's his choice and that's on him. But for me, it was like I needed to learn how to be stronger with my boundaries and say, okay, like, in order for you to be in my life, this is what I need. And to be honest, they were very basic things. They were not like, these were not like, Agnes would always say, it's not like you're asking him to take you to Jamaica. Like, because I wasn't. I was asking for like respect, communication, like consistency, like these are all like bare minimum things, okay? And he just wasn't giving me any of that, and of course we were having sex and all of that, and so it did not make me feel good because, I think that, like Agnes always talks about, you can't give sex for love or whatever, but I think as women, we tend to do that a lot, where we think, oh, like, it's because we're hormonally, like, bonding to them and stuff like that, and for them it's completely different with like the bonding chemicals and all of that, but like you feel so close to them and you feel like it's going to bring you closer if you just keep doing this and you keep giving of yourself in this way, and yet you're not being met with like these kind of bare minimum things. It's like you have to then say, all right, I have to set like a boundary here, right? So I told him, like, if you want to, like, first of all, I told him no sex, and I didn't have sex with him that whole time. I told him, like, these are the things I need from you in terms of, like, the time that we would spend together, or, and again, these were not unreasonable asks. They were very, like, normal things that would typically be present in a reciprocal relationship. However, I was coming to realize that this is not a reciprocal relationship, right? Because he's objectifying me. He's, like, kind of doing his own thing. and saying all of the right things to get me to be strung along pretty much, and then I'm tolerating that, and I need to be the one to look at that and say, don't do that. Like, say that to myself, right? Like, tell him what I need, but at the same time, like, if I'm gonna set a boundary, then I have to stick to it. I can't just, like, pussyfoot around it and be like, oh, it's alright, I guess, you know, maybe I'll fuck you today. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, none of that stuff can happen, right? So, the point being with the emotional unavailability thing is that I did lay it all out, and he did insinuate that he understood and that he was on board. And then I guess like 4 months went by where it was like this kind of back and forth where like he would insinuate that he understood, and then he would do something again. And we would talk about it, and he would insinuate that he understood, and then he would do something again, you know? And then finally I went to him, and both times I tried to break up with him, he did this to me where he flipped it around and tried to make it seem like I was doing something that was upsetting him, which was what was causing him to not give me those things that I was asking for. Yet he just wasn't giving me those things in the first place, you know what I'm saying? So that was another thing I had to look at, where I'm like, why am I so worried about his needs when, like, you know, he's not doing anything to acknowledge me and what I've, like, set a boundary for. And, you know, like, I can't give a shit about what he needs anymore. Like, it doesn't matter to me, like, what he needs. I don't care if he's angry. Like, this is the same rigmarole, and I've been with him for, like, over 3 years, you know what I mean? And I don't want to keep wasting time when he's just saying, like, empty promises and stuff like that, and, like, nothing's ever changing. So then it kind of fell on me. So yeah, I think he was just as unavailable emotionally as he was in the beginning. But, like, for me, I had done a lot of soul searching and just my own admissions to myself about the reality of the situation and the reality of what was going on inside of me. And I think it has nothing to do with, like, okay, like, I was still manifesting this, because I went through a period of that where I was like, why am I still manifesting this? But it's like, that part doesn't even really matter, because it's like, why am I still choosing this? And I think that was, like, the more important question to ask, like, to stop asking, like, you know, everyone is you pushed out, so why am I pushing this out? No, it's like, why am I accepting this? Why am I tolerating this? And do I believe that there's something better out there? And can I make space for something better? Because you know, if I keep messing around with this guy, how is, like, a way better guy ever gonna even have room to come along and, like, show me that there's anything better out there for me, if that makes sense, you know? And since then, like, I've gone on a bunch of dates and, like, met some, not like a bunch of dates, but, like, a handful of dates, talked to some guys, I guess you could say, and I just realized that within me is stuff that still needs to be worked on and cleared. I'm not attracted to these guys, but I realized that, like, they're coming in, let's say, and I'm waiting for, like, the right guy to come in. Like, I don't want to just be like, oh, I feel lonely or whatever, and I'm going to kind of, like, settle on this guy because he's giving me attention or whatever, love bombing me or whatever these guys do nowadays. But I guess my point is that I just wanted to make space for everything in my life that I want to change for the better, and continue to be emotionally available to myself in all of my responsibilities. My life, my other relationships are very important to me right now, and just being love, because I'm not trying to get it from someone. Like Anya's always says, like, right, it's like you're trying to get something from someone over there. It's like you are the love. Or I know one of Anya's friends said the thing about how when her friend went through a divorce, it wasn't like her husband took the suitcases of love and, like, went out the door and left forever, you know? So it's like, I just want to have a life that I love, and I do, and I want to keep curating that and enriching that experience. And when a guy comes along who's worthy of me, then I will pay attention more to that. But until that happens, I have no space in my life for any of this crap that I constantly made room for, because, like, empty promises or like just inconsistencies. Like, I was always overgiving, trying to convince someone to love me. And now my self love is so strong that I will never tolerate any of that bullshit from another man ever alive. As long as I live, it just won't happen. And do I think I'm going to be alone forever? No. But do I want to be with the right man? And do I want to be healed enough inside to be able to discern him when he comes and to be able to accept and receive his love when he comes? Yes, because I still think I have certain wonky limiting beliefs in there that I have to put into check so that I can accept the relationship. Because whether it's through programming or whatever you want to, experiences, it doesn't matter. Because I think also, like, all these weird TV shows and movies and stuff, they're just pumping us full of like weird things that cause us to believe all this limiting shit. But I still have limiting beliefs that I need to work out, is the long and short of that. And I do notice that I'm attracted to way different guys now, or guys who I used to maybe be attracted to in the past. I'm not attracted to them anymore, or I've literally had tons of guys coming back around who I had been attracted to in the past, and then now they're all like kind of hollering, and I'm like, ew, like, why did I ever even, like, what was I thinking, because I just can tell that I'm changing. So I think it's a process, but it's just making your relationship with you that top number one priority, and you're gonna just, it'll be like a repellent to any emotionally unavailable guys whatsoever. Even if you had hardcore feelings for them, it's not going to matter, because your feelings, like, your loyalties are going to lie with you here where they belong. They're not going to be with some guy who treated you like you don't matter or whatever. Like, you matter, you know that, you treat yourself that way, and like, you're just never going to allow anyone to treat you that way ever again. So that was long, sorry.
Oh, no, that was good. That was helpful.
All right, good, no problem.
Wonderful. Victoria, thank you for all that, because there's so much good meat on the bone in everything you said, and people can re-listen to you and Marcy, and just, there's just so much in there.
But that actually answered my question.
Oh, good, Lobby. That's good.
Like, I spent the first 2 years when I worked with LOA with theories and listening to the interpretation of Neville and the interpretation. And when I'm in the theory, I don't get it. I get the theory, I get intellectually, but I need the examples to translate into the application.
Yeah,
Very literate, probably.
for sure.
So that's very, very. Thank you for sharing that, Victoria. Because that was illustrating what you said before, but in an application of it.
Well, thanks for watching, my babes. That's the end of the relevant part of the discussion. If you have any questions, comments, please type them below and I'd be happy to answer them, or do any future video ideas that you might have on the whole manifesting an SP thing. I'm very versed in it, and I also plan on having my friends who are also seasoned manifestors, if you will, come on and talk about their experience with it, because I think we all kind of get sucked into that community when our self love is kind of weak. But at the same time, I really do strongly believe that it's teaching us how to have greater self love in a very kind of roundabout way. So, yeah, I mean, please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, comment below anything that you want to talk about, and share this with anyone who you feel like could benefit from it. And I will be posting some more vlogs soon and some more sit-down videos. It's just contingent on the time that I have to edit and also sit down and film. So I'm glad that I got to share this with you. I'm looking forward to sharing more with you. Thank you so much for all of your love and support, and for supporting the channel, watching the videos, and just spreading the love. So I'm sending you all of my love. Beard is too. He's right over here. Can't see him, but he just came by to sit down over by the computer while I'm doing this voiceover. So we're both sending all of our love. I will see you guys in the next one, my babes. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.